Hey, Yang Gangers, isn't it another great day to be a Yang Ganger? Yes, it is. Refreshing to have such an optimistic path forward for this country. So today I thought I'd talk about paying for the dividend. And there are three different ways I look at it. One is the very detailed explanation as to how it will be paid for. And Andrew does a great job of doing that on his website in the video titled how it's paid for, right? So if that's a concern of yours, I invite you to start there and listen to the actual answer to that question. But then there's another layer of questioning as to, okay, those are the details as to what needs to be done, but how do we actually make that happen as a country? And there's a pretty simple answer to that as well, in my opinion. That's just we make it a priority. That's as simple as it gets. We already spend the money now. We have the money now. We're the richest, most powerful, economically sound nation in the history of humanity. We can do this. We just have to decide that it's a priority for us to do it. The minute we do that, everything else falls in line. We just need to reprioritize our spending. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the third answer in my mind that makes this a no-brainer, and that's the biggest thing we can do as citizens to ensure that this dividend effort pays for itself is to spend the money, right? $1,000 comes into our household and we do something with it. No matter what we do with it, it lights a fire under an economic capitalist engine, right? So whether you do nothing and leave it and put it in a bank, then the bank is going to take that money. The bank is going to reinvest it into a host of things that add value and raise the production of this country. If you spend it in any product or service, you're feeding the machine that should create more value, create more product, create more production. And the end game of all of that is that the dividend will most likely pay for itself over time, right? Without doing all these other things that we know we can do in terms of reprioritizing spending. The only one thing that we could do that would make it not pay for itself would be to pull the money out of the bank and light it on fire. I'm pretty sure if that we did that, it wouldn't pay for itself. It wouldn't circulate through the economy. It wouldn't jack up it wouldn't stimulate the engine, the economic engine of America. I like to tell stories. So today I'm going to tell the story about my dear fictitious friend, Donny. Donny owns a donut shop in a very small town away from the technical coast, away from the the historic manufacturing-based locations, and actually disconnected from the agricultural shift that as our agricultural industry has shifted to big business. They're outside of that. It's a little town of 10,000 people. And most of the citizens in this town are also disconnected from Wall Street. They're like the 50-60% of the country that do not really benefit from the Wall Street growth that we've had over the last 6 years running, and especially the spike we've had in the last few years. They're outside of that booming economy. Their life has not changed pretty much at all. But in this tiny town, Donny Donuts, he owns a donut shop, right? This is post the dividend. And now this tiny town, right, over the 2-year term, I like to look at the dividend in blocks of the 2-year term, 8 years at a time, because it really changes your perspective on the economic power of the dividend. But this town will have collectively $1 billion flow through it. Because of this, more people buy donuts. So Donny Donuts is he's excited, and it started to happen right away. Pretty much, the first year of the dividend, more people just happened to stop in and eat donuts because they could. In fact, as his business grew, right, to handle the increased growth, he could hire a few more people. Those are new jobs created downstream as a benefit of the dividend being in place. And the people he hires are super excited. Why? Because one, they have this new job, but two, they have this new job and they have the dividend. So their personal lives didn't just take a tiny step forward, they took a little jump forward, Their whole life is starting to really have more potential now. And these people, because they have more potential, more economic buying power now with the increased economics from the new job and the dividend, right? So now their life changes a little bit too, right? So now they find themselves going across the street to Wendy's shop, Wendy the wine bar, right? And now, because more people are now going to Wendy's wine bar, Wendy says, you know what? I need to hire a few more people to take advantage of these new customers to better serve them. So you now have new people working at Wendy's wine shop. And this ripple effect rolls through the economy. I find it very hard to find a segment of this country that can put a logical case together as to why they do not want the country to invest in each individual citizen with the freedom dividend so that that citizen can do whatever best serves them, can do whatever that means, can do whatever that allows them to do to better serve them. And as a country, no matter what it is they decide to do, will feed the economic engine of this country. But here's the even greater exciting story, because the leadership of this little town that Donny Donuts lives in and Wendy the wine bar, they're all in, and they live there just because they love the lifestyle there. They like it there. They like the people. They like their neighbors. They love their lifestyle. It's a great place to live. But now suddenly they're connected mainstream into the economy, at least an economic flow. So some of the leaders got together and said, with $1 billion flowing through our little town, we can take it on ourselves to move our infrastructure forward, to do different creative things, to actually make this a destination. We can use this collectively. We can decide what we are trying to become as a town. And not only as they started to do these things, they invited industry in, right? Not just because industry is attracted to the $1 billion in spend, because that's a lot, right? That's a lot. That's enough to attract some industry in. But they not only attracted domestic industry in, but they attracted foreign industry in as well. So to the surprise of many people would rather live in this little small town, move forward, right? This little small town with an elevated infrastructure, all these cool things they decided to do. They would just rather live there. And as the country continues to move forward, we talk about the impact of this fourth industrial revolution. There are a couple of things that are new things relatively to us as a society. And one is the shared economy and the other is the gig economy. So the gig economy is this whole emerging economy of people that kind of work independently. They kind of work on their own, but they do these different creative things. That's a whole exploding thing right now. And many of those people would love to live in Donny's town, right? So even companies that are working for the winners of this new economy, the companies like Amazon and Google and all these companies, many of their workforce are now distributed in. They don't all work in the place where the headquarters is. So even the high-tech companies are going to have a percentage of their employees that now can choose from a broad number of places to live where they want to live. And all of a sudden, this little town has an asset, has an asset that it can start to market to the rest of the country. And that asset is great quality of life. Guys, there are so many things that are attached to this dividend. I am just jacked. And I hope my little stories help ignite your imagination so that you can dream a bit about what America 2.0 can look like. Because that's how I view this. We are sunsetting the old American system, right? Operating system. And we are jumping into the new one. We should embrace that. That's a metaphor that we now have come to accept in technology. Everybody knows that the iPhone they bought last year or this year will be replaced in 6 months, right? Or the new one that's going to come out. And eventually you upgrade. So, computers, everybody knows that you have to upgrade the software for it to run. There's nobody that can take a computer program or mobile app created today in 2019 and run it on Windows version 1. Well, a lot of what we're trying to do with this country, in terms of lifestyle and freedoms and future opportunity, a lot of our current leadership and current politicians, they're trying to create these new programs that run on that old outdated operating system. The new operating system, one of the components of it is, why does capitalism start at zero? That makes no sense, not when it doesn't have to. And when you do the math on what we're able to do by not starting at zero, everything changes. It's a great day to be a yang ganger.